podcast where we put you on the map. This is Ron Costa broadcasting live from the Mappable USA studios in Las Vegas, Nevada. And folks, today we're going to talk about something that, I just have to say it's a game changer. I mean, that's the way it goes. And you'll get an idea about what we're talking about as we progress in this show. But before we do that, let's introduce Vicky Hutchmala from the World Token Market. Vicky, how are you doing today?
I'm fabulous today, Ron, and I'm excited. Our guest today is one of the first guests we had when we first started doing these podcasts, and he and his company have come a long way and changed directions, and I cannot wait to talk to him. So let's go.
Yeah, same here. So let's welcome to the show Mark Elenowitz. Mark is the founder and president of Horizon. He's also a partner in Upstream. Mark, how are you doing today?
Great, Ron. Thank you for having me.
No problem. We love it. It's great. I mean, it's been such a long time since we had you on before, and I know Vicky's been, we got to get him on again. I can't believe this. We got to do this. And now you're on, so I'm really psyched about this. And it's always good to talk to a real your industry leader in what you're doing. It's really impressive with what Horizon has done so far. And I'm going to talk about that in the podcast as well. So thanks for taking the time out to talk to our audience today.
Well, it's actually, you guys have been a part of our success. You were there at the very beginning. We had this vision. We were looking to comply with what the regulations were dictating. They've evolved, we've evolved, and now we're ready to let the world know what we're doing. So your timing is perfect.
Great. Well, before we get into the podcast, Mark, can we get a little bit of information about you, your background, how you got to be where you are right now?
Absolutely. So I'm a Wall Street banker, been on the street now for a little over 30 years. My main focus has been small cap underwriting. Just to be clear, in this circumstance and what we're talking about today, I'm not acting in the capacity of a broker-dealer or a U.S. regulated person, so I just want to put that out there. But it's important that background actually helped create what we're doing today. One of the things that I was very active with, and I still remain active, is around the Jobs Act, specifically Title IV, which is Reg A+. My firm and myself specifically helped create the methodology for Reg A to be treated more like a traditional IPO, trade on the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ. We did the actual first, in fact, the only two onto the NYSE and several onto NASDAQ. One of them, the more famous ones that we participated in, were the underwriter on, was a company called Fat Brands, which owns Johnny Rockets and Fat Burger and Hurricane Wings. And just most recently, they announced the acquisition of Twin Peaks. So it was a success story that demonstrated that the power of the crowd can truly finance entrepreneurial companies and allow those fans and consumers to be shareholders and be able to reap the benefits from all of their participation, whether they were buying food or drinking beer or being a part of that organization, and now get a chance to participate in the growth through owning the stock in the public market.
Oh, exciting!
That's great. Yeah.
And so
I'll tell you what, the Fat Brands product, Mark, is one of the reasons why I'm at the gym 5 times a week. It's
especially with COVID, you and me both.
It's great. Yeah.
So
something to say about comfort food.
Yes.
When we
yes,
first
exactly.
talked to you, Mark, we were talking about Horizon Globex and how you guys were new on the blockchain, in the blockchain industry, and how things were excited. And since then, you've changed your name to Horizon FinTechs. You expanded your worldwide, your knowledge and information has helped to the SEC and other countries around the world to regulate and understand the whole blockchain industry and keep it secure and safe. So tell us how you went from where you started to where you are now and what you're getting ready to launch in the next couple weeks.
Sure, Vicki. Thank you. So originally our focus was around blockchain here in the U.S. Securities, whether they're on the blockchain, whether they're traditional in nature, in order to be sold in the U.S., they need to be either registered or exempt. And registered are what people understand the words more like IPO or S1. Exempt securities are something known as private placements or 144, securities that are issued typically under Reg D, whether it's 506C or also utilizing Reg S for international investors. But what we found is that the SEC is not quite ready yet to allow real-time secondary trading of these digital asset classes. There is the ability to issue them in a primary issuance where a company raises capital using one of those exemptions or registrations, but there's no real marketplace available yet in a real-time manner to allow secondary trading. So when we first spoke a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, Horizon's mission was to work through a U.S. broker-dealer to create a secondary marketplace known as an ATS or alternative trading system where these securities could be traded after they were initially issued and they were held the statutory period, where investors could have the ability to have liquidity in a real-time manner. The SEC ended up coming out with joint statements with FINRA where they had put certain conditions where broker-dealers need to adhere to. And in these joint statements, they outlined what they would feel comfortable with from a control position, from the ability to have settlement, and the ability for transactions to occur, and broker-dealers needed to comply. Unfortunately, none of these really led to a real-time active marketplace. There were conditions related to the custody and how those shares are custodied or those digital tokens are custodied. So what we found was that investor protection was the most important aspect, but the ability to have investor liquidity should not be overlooked. And unfortunately, we're just not there yet. Hopefully, and it seems that the SEC is moving in the right direction, that that's going to occur, but they're looking for more guidance. They want a better understanding of how that marketplace works. In fact, what we're finding right now, I happen to sit on the advisory board for the Depository Trust, where we're working with DTC to try to solve these issues, to put in the plumbing in order to facilitate the market to be able to trade in these types of securities. But we're not quite there yet, and we probably won't be there for another year or two. So Horizon had built technology from KYC and AML to comply with the Bank Secrecy Act, to comply with U.S. securities rules as well as FINRA regulations, and built custody and clearing technology to facilitate the ability to have transfer agents utilize the blockchain to be able to move positions from one buyer to another. And we had built all of this for this U.S. marketplace that just didn't happen. So we looked and we said, what are we going to do now? We've built all this great technology. How can we deploy it? And what we recognized was that the rest of the world was open-minded to this. So we went offshore and we partnered with a national securities exchange for the government of the Seychelles. And what's unique is they're an affiliate member of the World Federation of Exchanges. And the WFE is a membership of about 250 global exchanges, including the New York, Hong Kong, London, Tokyo, Toronto, all the major exchanges around the world. And it enables issuers that trade in our marketplace to be able to be traded in other marketplaces, and more importantly for issuers that trade here in the U.S. or in Canada to be able to trade and to be dual listed in our market. So we're appreciative that the SEC forced us to look elsewhere, but we are also appreciative because we adopted the policies that were set forth in the U.S. in terms of investor protection, transparency, access to information for the investors to make informed decisions, and to be able to transact in a safe, secure manner, and took that knowledge and applied it to a global marketplace that's called Upstream, and Upstream is coming live next week.
And that is so exciting because we've talked a little bit in the past about another program that you're working on called the Global Fan Exchange, which when Ron and I first heard that, it was so exciting. The whole concept of it was so exciting, and now you've taken it to the next level with Upstream, and give our listeners a little bit of what exactly is Upstream and how does it relate to the Global Fan Exchange, what is that?
Absolutely. So Upstream itself is what we believe to be the first national securities exchange in the world powered by the blockchain. Investors can come in and download an app. They can fund their account using U.S. dollars or fiat, and that capital is held in a U.S. bank account where those investors will have $250,000 of FDIC insurance. The assets that they buy are actually held as smart contracts in a secure wallet that's created when the investor opens the account on their phone. But unlike Bitcoin or some of the other cryptocurrencies, these are tokenized securities, similar to what's here in the U.S. So if an investor was to lose their phone or lose their wallet, so to speak, those securities could be replaced, unlike a Bitcoin wallet that gets lost. We've all heard those stories where somebody lost $10 million and then we're going through the trash heap looking for them. The one thing about Upstream is that we are a foreign stock exchange. So as a foreign stock exchange, unfortunately, we do not allow Americans to participate, nor do we allow Canadians. It's under the rules
because
here
of
in
the
US,
regulation.
The regulations under what's called 15A6 do not allow foreign exchanges or broker-dealers to solicit U.S. investors. So although we have all of this great activity and exciting opportunities, which I'll talk to you about, none of it at this point in time is available for U.S. citizens and only international. And there's no gaming our system because we have a robust KYC process where you must use your passport. We use geofencing. We use IP tracers. So we truly follow the rules and not allow investors to game or manipulate that process.
Well, and that's exciting, although it's not a good thing for people in America and Canada, but being on the global exchange will allow the SEC to see how you operate and see how it can be done in a secure and safe way to help to create the regulation to bring it to the United States. Do you think that's going to take a long time?
I do. I think the SEC, as much as it would be flattering that they look at the policies and the procedures and the processes that we do, I think it's a bigger issue, and the SEC, at least the new administration, has been indicating with some of the recent enforcement actions and some of the policies they're putting forth around crypto that they just need to understand more, and rightfully so. When investors or retail investors are participating in these type of transactions, it's the SEC's position, which is the right position to provide investor protection. But what we do and what we feel is unique is all of the offerings as a digital stock exchange powered by the blockchain. The securities that trade in our marketplace or will be trading in our marketplace are all ERC20 tokens. So they're truly securities that are tokenized, that are blockchain-based, that are immutable, that are transparent. So our marketplace does not allow short selling, layering, spoofing, market manipulation. None of the things can occur. When investors will be trading in our marketplace, they actually have visibility to see that every trade is published on the blockchain, where they can actually go through Etherscan and see the actual trade and see what the market depth looks like. And that's important because there's no game playing, there's no order flow selling, there's nothing of that nature.
That's exactly right.
There's no market makers. It's truly best bid, best offer. And the best part of it is it's a T0 instantaneous settlement. So what our market has been designed to do, and to answer your question, Vicki, what you were asking about the Global Fan Exchange, is we built this great market. We have investor protections in place. We have security in place to allow investors to transact. We have disclosure in place because all the offerings are done through prospectus. There's semi-annual and annual disclosure requirements, so investors will have transparent and real-time information to make informed decisions. But we now have this market. What are we going to offer? So Upstream offers basically 4 products. The first one is fan-based products, which is what you had mentioned, the Global Fan Exchange. And this is using modern techniques and using tokenization. We're able to monetize royalty streams from professional musicians, songwriters, music royalties, masters, and other types of royalty distribution products. Pitbull, a.k.a. Mr. Worldwide, is one of our strategic advisors and partners. We're also partnered with Timbaland and Gary Morella Beat Club. And what we're looking to do is monetize celebrities here in the U.S. and globally to allow those fans of those celebrities who've made those celebrities a success, who've listened to that music, to now actually own a piece of that music or catalogs and be able to receive the royalties and dividends, but more importantly, be able to trade in and out of them on our exchange. So we have a very exciting, we partnered with one of the largest Bollywood movie studios in India. They produce almost all of the top Bollywood films. They have over 1,600 songs that have been packaged into an SPV that will pay a 35% royalty of all annual income that comes in. And right now it's about $5 million a year. So 35% of that $5 million will be paid to all the investors that participate. And now they can own a piece of their favorite film. And that's coming out here on Upstream in the next 2 or 3 weeks. We also do traditional IPOs. So we do security-based tokens, or security token offerings, as people like to use that word. I think that's actually a negative word. I like to use the word digital security, because these are really just tokenized common stock or preferred. And this particular company is related to the metaverse, and it's kind of the new view of where blockchain is going. So now investors will be able to participate. It's a $100 million IPO. And we have several others that are also coming behind it. But really the most exciting thing I think that we offer, and this is something that we've been working on for a while, is because we're a national securities exchange and not an ATS, because we have the ability to allow foreign issuers that are traded in other markets dual list, we have created the ability for OTC issuers that are traded here in the U.S. to take their common stock and convert it into a tokenized equity class and have those shares tokenized trade in our marketplace. So being that I said at the beginning, investors have the ability to open accounts on our exchange using fiat or dollars, but we also allow them to open accounts using cryptocurrency in the form of a USDC stablecoin. So we have now created the ability for a global investor to take an alternative asset class like cryptocurrency and use that to purchase traditional asset classes of U.S. equities that are traded in our market. So now a global investor can buy a share that trades on the OTC that's dual listed on our market using cryptocurrency. We think it's the future.
Oh my gosh,
of the market.
That's just incredible. In terms of the Global Fan Exchange and Upstream, even though people in the United States or Canada are not allowed to actually participate yet in purchasing or trading the tokens, but a person like Pitbull, whether they live in the United States or Canada, they can still participate using that platform?
So global investors can participate and buy the securities of. So if it's Pitbull as an example, as a U.S. issuer, he can sell the securities, but the buyers need to be outside the United States.
Right.
So
but it doesn't matter where he lives.
Does not matter where the issuer is. We allow issuers from around the world to quote and list in our market. It's the buyers who transact. The traders cannot be Americans or Canadians. So there are so many opportunities. We're working with Malaysian pop stars. We're working with Korean pop stars. We have celebrities from around the world, even domestic celebrities here in the U.S. that might have a massive following in the Caribbean or Latin America or in Europe. Those are the type of investors that at this point in time have the opportunity to trade in our market. And we also have the ability, which we'll be coming out with over the next probably 30 days, is to the ability to sell and buy NFTs. And the NFTs that are quoted in our marketplace are done in a manner where the celebrity knows that the buyer has been KYC and AML. They know that the buyer is not from a blacklist or sanctioned country, and that they can now transact in a safe, secure manner. Because one of the problems with the NFT market as it stands today is a lot of these marketplaces that are around the world, like OpenSea, clearly state that they do no KYC or AML, and you can only transact using Ether or ETH. So you're dealing in a world where it's clouded and it's opaque, where there's not transparency, and you don't know. It's an anonymous marketplace. So where the celebrity might think they're doing something good and they're trying to offer an ability to own a piece of their masters or music, they don't know who the buyer is on the other side, and that buyer might be from a sanctions blacklist country like Korea or North Korea or Iran, or they might be money laundering. And when that celebrity makes a distribution of that equity or that cash, they've now potentially have violated U.S. sanctions by paying into a country they shouldn't be doing. With Upstream, we don't have any of that because we know exactly who's transacting in our market. Everyone that comes in has been KYC'd and AML using the Upstream and Horizon technology. Then we run against 60 international databases. But the other thing that we do is we don't run it just on day one when you open an account, but we're running it constantly. So where today you might be a good citizen, in 2 weeks from now you might be a bad actor, and you won't be able to trade in our market going forward. So again, it's designed for investor protection, issuer protection, and transparency.
That was one of the most important things I saw when you did the
invest.
Oh, we got two questions at the same time. So each transaction. Let me answer Vicky first. So transactions, IPOs are set. There's various minimums. What we tried to do is democratize them. So the idea is that investors can invest as little as $25 or $50 per opportunity. So it truly is designed to give out to the masses. Now, some of these products that are being offered have attractive yields. Most of the companies, when we're looking at royalty streams, have historic and consistent cash flow, so we can model out returns, annual dividends anywhere between 6 and 10%, and giving an IRR over a period of time. So investors, if they're looking for consistency in dividend return, they can invest larger amounts, or they could, like I said, go as little as $25 or $50. It's all up to the suitability and what's appropriate for that investor in their own portfolio.
Wow, that's special. It gives everybody
Mark, the question I was going to ask you,
participate.
Yeah, the question I was going to ask you, Mark, was a while back when you demoed this KYC AML thing to us a while ago. It was really, really impressive, and I really like the fact that you mentioned it, how you keep updating this over under every day, so that these bad actors can't just show up. I've seen KYC AMLs from a lot of other companies that they think that they're doing the right thing here, but yours totally blows it away. I mean, you guys are just amazing on that end of it. I actually saw some of these people telling me, well, they just self-certify. That's a bad thing, So kudos to you on that one. I really like the way you engineered and worked that whole thing.
We have a liveness detection. We run against databases. Yeah. We do MRZ. We do geofencing. We can tell if you're telling us that you're in the UK, and we are able to see on through our technology that you're actually in the Philippines, then we know it's not accurate, and you're not going to get past our system. The other thing is that you can't ever utilize complete technology in order to verify KYC or AML, and a lot of our competitors do that, where we actually have human interaction. There's an AML officer that reviews the material and ensures that this person is compliant. And if they're not, because sometimes there's false positives, they're escalated and they're reviewed, and it's determined whether that investor can participate in our market, and we hope that they can, but there are people that won't be able to participate, and we wish them luck to go trade somewhere else.
Yeah, no doubt. How about the companies that are actually doing the issuing? How do they actually get listed on the Upstream? Do they go to the website,
so all
or
companies
how does that
go
work?
through a process similar to listing on the New York or NASDAQ or OTC. There's an application, background checks on all the officers, directors, promoters, associated people. It's a process that typically takes anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. There's also the requirement of a prospectus and disclosure. So it's that process goes through the attorneys and goes through the regulator to review and make sure it's adequate in terms of disclosure, and that the appropriate risk factors are detailed, and that it gives a fair and balanced review of what the company's potential is, as well as things that can go wrong. Once it passes through that, then the offering is then slated. We're an exchange. We don't raise capital. We facilitate the ability for other broker-dealers or for the issuers to directly raise capital. We utilize some of the methodology around Reg A, so an issuer can come into our marketplace. They don't need to hire a broker-dealer. They can raise their capital themselves by using social media and other types of digital marketing and not have to worry about paying the commissions associated with a broker-dealer. But then there's others that have indicated that they are going to use broker-dealers to come in and use those broker-dealers to raise the capital and help assist them in raising the capital that they need. One of the things about Upstream is that our market is similar to the AIM market in London, where there's a Nomad or a PAL like there is here in the U.S. So there's the concept of what's known as a sponsor advisor, which is a regulated entity for the exchange. Our firm has a sponsored advisor division. It's called Horizon Fintechs. So it's our responsibility to make sure that the issuer complies with the rules and regulations of this stock exchange, as well as the rules and regulations of the government of the Seychelles.
Right, and it's basically all you're talking about this from a Reg A offering, so that you can market to anyone via social media or webinars, any way that you want to get the word out. That's right.
We don't have the concept of Reg A because these aren't exemptions or registrations in the U.S.
I see. Okay.
So we're Upstream is this national stock exchange for a different country. But the concept of general solicitation exists within the Upstream exchange, where utilizing a prospectus rather than a Form 1A. So a prospectus on our marketplace is similar in nature to what a prospectus you would see in the European community, which is kind of a combination of Reg A, S1, and EU prospectus disclosure requirements all combined into one. And that document is what investors use to make the decision whether they want to participate in the offering or not. But on top of it, we do, through the app, have other visual experiences where investors can then see a video. They can see information about the company in an attractive manner that will complement the risk disclosure that's in the prospectus. And then utilizing digital marketing, they can then allow investors outside the United States to view that and come to the exchange to learn more and then make a decision whether it's an appropriate investment for them or not.
Right. And what about the app itself? Is it a cross-platform app, iPad, Android, iPhone, et cetera?
Windows
right?
11, Android, iPhone, Mac, desktop. And you can see it right now and learn more at upstream.exchange, so www.upstream.exchange. And you can actually, the exchange itself is open and live today. There are no issuers on it. That will all start to come in the next couple of weeks as we start announcing each one of these transactions. But we do welcome people to come in and look and explore and get used to it. It's a very simple and intuitive app to use. It's simple to download. You go through the KYC process. You will need, if you're going to be opening an account, a driver's license, passport, and utility bill. One thing to note, that we do allow Americans to transact in the NFT side of our business when that launches in about 30 days. Because as long as the SEC continues to take the position, or at least here in the U.S., that NFTs are not securities, and these are NFTs that are non-fungible, so it's one buyer and it's not being broken up into multiple pieces, we will allow Americans to transact if they go through KYC with us. But they won't be able to do anything else on our market other than just participate on the NFT side. But that is something we are opening up to Americans to participate when we do launch our first NFTs.
Wow.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I like how the whole thing is all, you're talking about a global idea here. So I would imagine your phone must ring in the middle of the night then, Mark, right? All these people contacting you from all over the world.
That's the downside of, I got to tell you, working from home now with COVID. My day starts at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and then I finish with Australia at 10, 11 o'clock at night. I'm not sleeping much. I'm certainly working a lot.
That's what comes with being in demand, Mark.
Yeah, well, the thing about our company is we are a European company. We're based in Ireland. Most of our staff was at the University of Limerick in Ireland. They are no longer, everybody's working from home with COVID. But that's the beauty of technology and utilizing Teams and Zoom and all the other good things. And it enables everybody to work in a safe, secure manner. But all of our operations are out of Europe, with the exception of myself and a few others here in the U.S. So we do have most time zones. Our market is open Monday through Friday. It's a 20-hour day, so the market is open really for a global community. We do close for 4 hours to settle all trades and to start the day again the next morning.
Mark, do you think that this concept of Upstream and global fan exchange, do you think that can evolve into other industries besides sports and entertainment, into something like real estate or health or government or something that's different? How do you think that?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we have several issuers that are in the real estate business that are going to be doing offerings on our platform. On the health side, we have an issuer that's going through registration that's involved in dentistry and cosmetic dentistry. So it's not limited just to sports and entertainment. Recently we announced as Horizon, there's several press releases of partnerships. We partnered with a group called SME Sports out of Australia. They are bringing and working with us on European and Australian football, rugby, and other motocross and other types of sports where we're doing the tokenizational, fractionalizational ownership in professional sports teams. But we're also looking at other creative aspects where we're financing television shows, we're financing movies, we're financing other ideas. Where the global fan exchange concept comes in is people don't wake up in the morning and say, I want to own a piece of real estate in a tokenized or fractional format or a piece of art. But people have a passion around their favorite celebrity or entertainer or musician and want to feel part of that community. So we built it to be a fan-based engagement program to allow the celebrity or entertainer to connect to their fan and allow their fan to be a part of their success. So what we find is that type of passionate crowd, whether it's for a specific item, and it could be any item, so it doesn't necessarily need to be music or sports, it's something where there's a passion around a product, idea, concept, and that group, that fan base, wants to have a chance to own a piece of it. Now with Upstream, they have that chance.
Oh, that's so special. Well, and
it is.
You know,
it's a tremendous product.
Sometimes people just want to, just turn off the whole business world and making money and all of that and just do something that's pleasurable, and this is an opportunity to participate in that, especially if your minimum investment is $25. You appeal to everybody everywhere, because who wouldn't want to invest in their favorite celebrity or with $25? It makes it easy for everyone. That's great.
Yeah, that's why it's designed for the everyday average fan who wants to feel close and for $25 wants to own a piece. And then these are actual securities instruments that have return and yield. So an institution or somebody who's more sophisticated and interested in returns and yields can buy that same product and might have a different investment outlook and a different objective. So we tried to design it for everyone.
Exactly, and that's the beauty of it, that everybody can participate. It's no longer limited to more sophisticated people or people with more money or accredited investors. It's everybody. If you like it, if you want it, if it makes you feel good when you watch your favorite quarterback playing and you've invested in him, well, that'll just make you feel better. So, saying that, if I say you have some sports figure on there, let's say you have Tom Brady who's participating in Upstream and the fan exchange, then I invest in Tom Brady. Why am I doing that? What am I investing in? Explain that to our listeners. Tom's
not really a good example. So I know we've evolved from what we were talking about before. I think a better example would be a musician that has songs or royalties, or a musician that wants to re-record masters and uses the crowd to finance that new album, an upcoming album where the fans own a piece of it, and the artist is able to go into the studio, re-record 12 hits, and put out a greatest hits album that now goes out where the celebrity or the artist, the entertainer, actually owns the music rather than the studio, and owns it in conjunction with the fans. That's what we're focusing on.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
That makes more
doubt.
sense.
And I'll tell you what, Mark, I believe that once we get a legitimate secondary market with providing liquidity and everything, I think all these crowdfunding deals are going to explode. I think it's going to really just shoot the whole market. The whole thing is going to go crazy. That's why I think that you with Upstream is taking that next step. And it's an amazing idea. It's an amazing product. And I think, boy.
Well, that's actually, you just reminded me, Ron. That is our fifth product, and I forgot to mention that. So our marketplace is designed not only for the NFTs, for the fan-based IPOs, for the initial public offerings, and for the dual listing of existing securities, but we're also focused to provide liquidity for existing crowd-funded opportunities. So issuers that have been financed and have, here in the U.S., that have held those positions for over 12 months, Americans can open accounts for liquidation only. They can't buy anything else, but if they're a shareholder of a company that comes public, they have the right to exit that position. But more importantly, the global community, there was over $5 billion raised over the last several years of crowd-funded opportunities in Europe. Those issuers have no place to trade. They can all now trade in our market. Upstream is open and designed that issuers that have completed financings can apply to list. Their investors are whitelisted into our ecosystem, and those investors can deposit those securities and then be able to have liquidity and be able to trade. And investors that missed the original opportunity, that wanted to buy that crowd-funded deal that had closed, now could come into our market and be able to purchase shares.
You know what? That might be the top. Your number 5 was maybe number 1. That's a great idea. It's a great opportunity for these guys to do that. Vicky, I kind of wish I was an athlete or a musician or something to take advantage of this thing a little bit. But this is exciting. Don't you think so? It's amazing.
Oh, God. This is so exciting. You know, Mark, as I'm listening to you talk about this, I'm thinking that you have become the leader in blockchain technology in the industry across the world. And with this launch of Upstream, you've kind of created relatively a pure platform that will take blockchain to the next level and allow it to realize its full potential, because now everybody's brain is going to be working and like, oh, I can do this and I can do that. Kudos to you, Mark, because what you're doing with Upstream is huge. It's just fantastic. It's awesome.
We appreciate that. Yeah, we've been working hard. We ultimately, it comes down to this. We're a stock exchange designed for a modern investor who wants transparency, efficiency, and not to wait for days, hours, weeks to settle a transaction on the blockchain, but rather to have something to settle on a T0 settlement and be able to buy and sell in a safe, secure, transparent manner.
Yeah. Excellent. And just to clarify things for our listeners too, that if they want to go to the website, that's upstream.exchange. There's no .com there, right? Upstream.exchange.
Upstream.exchange. Everyone's welcome. Americans, international, we welcome everybody to look, and time, and we're working on it. Probably over the next several months, we'll be able to eventually allow Americans to participate in secondary trading and Canadians.
Boy, that'd be big.
It's just, we're walking before we run, and we don't want to run afoul of any U.S. regulations because we're looking forward to working with all global markets and not being alienated because we're doing something wrong. So for now, it's just international, but over time, hopefully that will change.
Well, Mark, I got to tell you again, I echo Vicky's thoughts on this, and I really thank you for taking time out being on the podcast today. It was a really, really great show, really good information, and I promise you I will not call you at 3 in the morning, okay? So don't worry about that.
No problem. For you, Ron, I'll take that call.
All right. Well, Vicky, thanks for co-hosting. Yes, I've arrived. Yes. So, okay, well, folks, you're listening to the Mappable USA podcast at mappableusa.com. If you go to that homepage, scroll down, you'll see all our syndication sources. Just pick the one you like best, subscribe, and you'll never miss another one of our episodes. If you want to be a guest for the show like Mark was today, there's a guest tab. Fill that out. We'll see what you can do about getting you on the show. And if you like what you heard today, send us an email at info@mappableusa.com or just leave a message on whatever page you're listening to this on right now. So thanks for listening. Thanks for your support. We'll see you next time with another Mappable USA podcast. Have a great week, everyone.